welcoming you to the Iceland podcast for week six. I'm going to bring in my fellow co-hosts. We have the one, the only Imad Hussein. He's finally gracing us with his presence. So, welcome, Imad.
Assalamualaikum. You guys have just been had a full house, so you didn't need me. So I'm only here to support now that you're in need.
Are
I'm the
you
same
kidding me,
here.
man? We need your analytics. We need that. We need that. But anyways, another man to bring his analysis analytics because he's always there the whole day and does all of our stats. And so, if anyone has anything to talk about stats, this is your time to hound on Mr. Stats himself, Zuhair, Mr. Fancy.
Salam, brothers. Yes, glad to be here.
Oh, so
So
it- not only
why
not
are my
only does
stats
he
up?
not only does he not remember stats, but he remembers plays. So if you ask him what happened in the Ikhlas versus Sabr game in the summer 2016 season, he'll tell you, oh, this happened, that happened, and then all this stuff. Like he has like the memory of an elephant.
No.
It's
Flattered,
pretty
brother.
impressive, mashallah.
Well, I'm pretty sure he's gonna really enlighten us with one of our media team members who scored a goal. So he's gonna give us that breakdown for sure. But let's jump right into it. Week six. So we're gonna recap week six and give the previews of week seven. So our first game from week six was Iman versus Sabr. So score says what it says, 2-1 for Sabr. I will start off by saying that Purple just laid it on thick to Sabr. Sabr just weathered the storm, and at the end of the day, Riaz Hussein faced 29 shots. So that in itself was formidable, but we still have to have a winner and a loser. But Zuhair, do you want to take this and give us your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say that Riaz Marshall played well, and he's really the reason that Iman was not able to build a lead early, and Sabr got away with the win, if anything. That Sabr's two goals were both shorthanded. One was the ball went to the corner, Hussein went in, dug it out, centered it to, I think it was Mohammed who scored the first goal, Mohammed Clear.
Zaid Clear scored the first one.
Zaid Clear got the first one. The second goal that
You're making me look bad here.
Yeah. See, he talked about memory, and now I'm losing it. The second goal Sabr got was Iman's on the power play, and they're all far away, and Yusuf had to, balls dumped in, he has to play it. He tried to play it out, and it was knocked down, and Mohammed Clear got that shorty. So two shorties to give up from Iman is bad, but they played really well, but Riaz Masha played really well, and he's the reason that Sabr got the win for me.
And you know what? Like, not only did he make saves, he made some impressive saves. Like, I only watched the first half of the game because I had to get ready for game two. But man, like, he was he's gunning for that goalie of the year or top goalie award for this season. It's just unbelievable, mashallah. And he's played as a goalie in the league before, summer season, I think, last year, I think. But he didn't look as effective as he does this season. And I wonder how much of that is because of the team that he has in front of him. But regardless of that, he's still making those crazy saves that make it look extremely wild and acrobatic, which is just fun to watch.
You know what? Riaz and Yusuf Kapoor are making the rest of us look bad. Like, I have a goals against average of, I don't even know, like 3 something, whereas Riaz and Yusuf Kapoor are holding it down as like 1 goals against average and a save percentage of 900 plus. So yeah, I don't even know what to say. Like, great for them, but not so great for the rest of us. But Zuhair, with your memory, do you want to break it down for our second star of what he was able to do and how he scored?
So one last point I'll say on Riaz before we move on, because he has played well. I quickly checked stats. His save percentage is 950. He has faced the most shots of any goalie and given up the least goals, really, or a goalie who's played at least 5 games. So he's played really well and has been carrying his family, since this is kind of a friends and family team. But he's earned his spot there. He's playing really well. For the 1 goal for Iman, yes, it was our friend Solomon Azmet who got that goal. Very well done. off a face-off, sealed his man, curled and snapped it in. So it was a good shot, good play. One of the few highlights for Iman where they're actually able to capitalize. So it was good for him, and but not enough for the team. They needed more from the Stars.
And Iman's been one of those teams that's kind of been up and down from one game to the next. Like while they lost this game, they could have won it. Like they had 29 shots, I think you said, Zoo. It's just, I mean, that's a lot. And they had a lot of pressure on Suber. Suber just couldn't get the ball on net. And they kept them to the outside, and whatever they did, they were able to manage that. But it is just unfortunate that they weren't able to come out with a W. Of course, our team is fighting for a playoff spot, so it's not really unfortunate for me. But it just goes to say that I think they definitely have more potential, and they're going to see some success in the future, inshallah.
Yeah. Sure.
Now, our second game of the night was, and Imad, you were on for this, Haya versus Ikhlas. So Haya came out again, another 2-1 victory of the night. Adam Pachbaya got the first star, then Taha Azhar, who just got traded to Ikhlas, or sorry, not traded, but through waiver claim. Compensation went to Ikhlas and Adam Sheikh. So 2 Malton guys, I believe Adam Sheikh's Malton as well, but 2 young guys holding it down for Haya. And Ikhlas just, again, can't seem to get it going, can't seem to find the pieces.
Yeah, it was the first game for Haya where we really, really felt like we've had a win before. This is our second win of the season, but it really felt like we were gelling as a team. Everyone was doing whatever they're supposed to do, minimal mistakes, very few turnovers, and just continue like beating the other team to the ball every single time, and just doing the right things. I don't know what else to say, but this is the team that I imagined Luke, Akib, and Suf drafted, and probably one of the first times that we've had everyone there except Luke, of course, who's been out the last few weeks. So it was a great game for us. Ikhlas still, they're still able to get the shots off. Not as many this game, of course, but it just feels like they don't utilize their teammates as much. It's a lot of one-man rushes and things like that, and yeah, they have these cross-ice passes, and they get missed, of course, because there's so much traffic or what have you. But they're low percentage plays that they try to make. Whereas when there's a clear play and someone's open, maybe use the point or what have you, there are opportunities there, and I just don't see them doing that on a regular basis, which is kind of unfortunate. And then we've belabored it too, is that they don't have that many defensemen, like true defensemen, and they have guys either playing really long, big minutes, or that they're just not accustomed to playing there. So that hurts them too. Of course, not necessarily in this game. I don't think that was a reason for the loss here, but still, there's opportunity for them. And the other piece is just getting some stability in net. It can make a difference in terms of who your goalie is, right? And just being used to who's back there. Their goalie Badger has not been in regularly, and I forget, it was Shiraz this past week who was goalie, and he played a great game. This wasn't, the loss wasn't on him at all. So I don't know. I think they have the pieces to get it together. They just need to play as a more cohesive unit.
Now, I have to resound that all that statement, because when you only get 10 shots on net, you're not gonna make a difference. You're not gonna win a game. And like you said, Shiraz has been playing amazing. Ikhlas is just a pure forward heavy team. That's really all it is. They just don't have the makings of a consistent team that can go far, because you have just random, I hate to say it, but like random people playing random positions. Whenever they need someone to jump on the power play, someone will go forward. So you don't have that consistency to talk to your teammates to know, hey, I'm playing this role and I'm going to be in this role for today, for tomorrow, for the week, anything like that. There's no development over time. But that being said, I think Haya, like you said, they got it together. Missing Luke being one of their big, again, just the GM. When you miss a GM, it makes a huge difference. But Zoo, what did you see out there? What did you notice, even with missing Luke and missing some of their key players?
So I left at halftime to get ready for my game. That was the next one. But in the first half, I mean, that's where all the goals were. If I recall, Colossus' goal was it looked a bit fortunate to me, where Fahad kind of flipped it on net, but a curving shot that bounced right in front of Mufti and kind of went through him because he misjudged the bounce. The two Haya goals were well manufactured by their kids, the young guys, Adam and Adam, that got all the goals for them. That, you know, good passing, good crisscross from Haya. They played well. I mean, the system that Haya plays, you know, intense, good forecheck, good positioning. Ikhlas, you know, it's hard because I think position fluidity is always good, and having guys that can play in different spots in different times. But it is hard because they seem to be forcing guys to play out of position, and then they're doing their best, but they seem to have challenges breaking out of the zone, keeping the ball inconsistent in the zone, offensive zone consistently, and that makes it hard to generate offense. Like Shirazbai played well for them in goal, but to Imad's point earlier, like not having Badger consistently in net, and he is one of the better goalies when he's in form, that helps, right? Because then if you're at the last second, you're finding out like, oh, he can't make it, and you're getting a backup goalie, there's some lack of ability to plan from the GM side, so it makes it harder there.
Yeah,
And
and
if
I
Lost
just
is
want
paying the price, like they're last, so they got to figure something out quick.
and I just want to mention two things here. So just a shout out to the young guys on Haya. They're fine, like they're in their first season in the league and finally coming into their own. I think they had a spectacular game, and they've had good games before, but this, I mean, they really shone here. So I'm really happy with how they're coming along, and hope they're going to be part of the league for a long time. The other thing I want to mention is we talked about how Ikhlas didn't really get many shots on goal in this game, but if I recall correctly, they've been getting like pummeling teams before this with shots. So it you know, they just had maybe a little bit of an off game in terms of how they were getting the ball to the net, but that isn't quite typical of them, which I just wanted to clarify a little bit.
That's fair. I think Haya probably took them out of that game because Haya does play very disciplined, very tight. I mean, Haya is short on defense, where I think Aka played most of the game, and he played back on D, trying to cover, you know, while Lukman's away. So that doesn't help. I mean, Haya's missing Hamza Ali, which is a huge loss. But yeah, loss.
Hamza played.
Hamza played.
Hamza Ali?
I have him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my mistake. I didn't think he was there.
Didn't show up on the score sheet this time, but he was there.
Maybe that's why he didn't score. He let the kids drive the heavy.
So you're saying he was not visible on the floor. That's what it was.
I didn't notice him, so I guess
you're making me second guess. Like like I was in the game. It's like, is my teammate there or not? I can't remember. Like Zoo remembers everything. How can I go against him?
You'll have to take a chat to see if he said he was in or not.
Now, just before going on to the next game, I just want to remind everyone that, you know, we come in to play this game we love day in, day out. But remember that we all have jobs, families, and everything to go to. So whatever happened on the floor happened. We need to move on from it. But we have to remember that we still need to get to our homes and, you know, participate in our lives the next day. So just keep it clean. I really don't know what else to say. I just don't really want to.
It's a brotherhood league, right? Don't let the emotions get to the best of you, and you know, play the game. That's what the focus is, and you know, it's all really to keep in mind.
Now, the next game, we had and some people were calling it a potential finals matchup. We had Yakin taking on Taqwa. Now, for Yakin, I'm gonna say this because I've messed up on this a few weeks in a row, and Mr. Ali has called me out on it. So Zakaria Ali, the man who I keep forgetting his name, even though his name starts with the same letter mine does. Zakaria Ali actually did play this game. This is the first game where him, Omar, and Maz were able to play together, but missing Waqar. So go figure. They still haven't had all of their top players play together in one game. But enough about that. We, again, had a potential finals matchup, ended in another 2-1 game. And it was just phenomenal to watch, right? We have Omar Abdullah, who took first star, and I still think this man is GM caliber player that was taken in the 5th, 6th round. Abdullah Manjra, another GM, comes up with the second star, and Maz Haq rounding out the 3 stars. So, Zoo, you were playing in this game.
I did. This was a good game. Physical, Malton kids, which Duck was primarily built from. They played well. I mean, they were resting Josefa Panchbaya for this one, so load management still alive and well in every league.
Now, hold on. Was it load management, or is it something that is?
It's probably Dawit management, if anything.
Or maybe restrictions after getting married of coming out for late night games.
Guaranteed, if he's there, we'll ask him. He'll say, "Hey, we have to go to the Dawit or something, and eat well." But yeah, miss hockey. But no, it was a good game, tight game. All the goals again were scored in the first half. So if you were late to this one, you missed all the fun. But both teams played well. I mean, Maz's goal. I was talking to Yusuf after the game, and he said it actually hit something. I think it hit his helmet maybe, and went a bit. It went in the corner. The second goal for Yakin was Omar Abdullah getting a nice pass from Abdullah Patel across and just one-timed it, and Kapoor didn't have a chance.
There's a video of that. It should go on Instagram.
Actually, yeah. Did I send that to you? Yeah.
And that pass
was kind enough to share a highlight.
That pass came from his offhand. So he shoots left. It came from his right. And he stepped into it like it was just a normal clapper. So it was pretty impressive to see.
Well played. Duckwa played well. I mean, there's no minimizing the pressure they put on. They're organized. Abu's goal was nice where he got in the corner, curled in the middle, and snapped it in. So they play well. They're missing one of their best players. Yusuf had another solid game. Mashallah, Fahad played well for Yakin. Two good teams playing good physical game, some chippiness at the end, but ticked all the boxes of what you'd want for an exciting game to watch and play in.
Playoff preview.
Maybe. You never know.
Now, Imad, did you get a chance to have I think you probably were still changing, so you probably just came in the second half.
Yeah, I saw the second half of the game, although I was engaged in conversations with a lot of people, so I don't know if I remember too much about the game.
Working the room?
Sorry?
Working the room? Yeah.
The arena, yeah, pretty much. But no, I mean, from what I saw, that this was it was a fun game to watch, right? It had, like you said, it had a little bit of everything. So this is why you play. This is it makes it interesting to watch other games. This is what it is. So
I'm gonna throw a little bit of fire out there and say, you know what? I think it was the youthfulness of Taqwa that hurt Taqwa a little bit. They have a lot of young guys, and they ended up taking on the sheet itself, like we had 5 penalties. Yeah, there were a couple at the end of the game, whatever. We had 5 penalties compared to Yakin's 3. A couple of them were offsetting, but that alone just kind of tells me, just looking at it, is the youthfulness, the inexperience, or just that quick to anger might have cost Taqwa getting back into this game. It's hard to really find a way to get back into a game when you're on PKs, right? When your star players or whoever, your penalty killers, are getting so tired, you don't have the ability to catch your breath and find and get a rhythm, and then let alone you catch your rhythm, you're back on the penalty kill. And you can't put a team like Yakin on the penalty kill. So, hey, who knows? If this is a playoff finals matchup, fantastic. But Taqwa just needs to get there, just to kind of keep a level head. And if they can do that, they'll be able to manage to get a W, or just push it to overtime and shootout even.
But I think that's their style. Their style is aggressive. It is, attacking, physical. I don't
always has been.
I mean, they've had 2 players of the week, right? They've had who was it? Player of the week. They've had
Shabir Patel
and Shabir Patel. Yeah.
Yeah, like both of them played well.
How could you forget Shabir Patel?
Yeah. Yes. Imad loves this, but 2 weeks ago,
the week he won Player of the Week.
The
I
week
think
he
that
won
was like
Player of the
several
Week.
weeks
Before
ago.
the game, I had commented how he's been struggling this season, so I wasn't sure if he was in form. And within a minute after that, he got a goal, then got another one. Imad's laughing. He finishes his hat trick. So apparently, my commenting on how well he's not playing resulted in him playing very well that game, according to Imad. But they had, Mohammed Shabir Patel, Zahir Kazi, both have played really well. A lot of good young players. I don't think it's the penalties, Maju, that hurt them. I think it's just little things just didn't connect, and ball sometimes doesn't bounce your way, even if you have all the better players. So I think it's just didn't work well for them that night. I know Habibi's a big fan of all their young players, and he's really been cheering them on. But I don't think the penalties hurt them. I think that's their style, right? They're aggressive, they're fast. The ball just didn't bounce for them all today.
I'm just going to disagree with you, considering what you said about Shabir Patel, and then he scored a hat trick right away. I'm just going to disagree. But anyways, let's
struggling. We'll look for him to get a hat trick this week.
Let's get on to the next game. It should have been exciting. Kind of had definitely its exciting moments. I was able to play this game, and I got third star. But Hamza Butt played a fantastic game to his first game coming back after Umrah and being sick. And was able to keep Rida off the board for quite a long time and then try to preserve the 1-0 lead. But Akbar Omar was able to get a very late tying goal to get the second star, and then I rounded it out with the third star. Shots respectively were 21-15 in favor of Rida Blue. You guys were both watching the game, I hope, not leaving early, but any thoughts about this?
I'll say I think both goalies played well. I don't want you to sell yourself short. I think because when I changed and came back, one of the first comments someone made to me is both goalies are playing really well tonight. And yeah, I mean Hamza, on his return, mashallah, played really well. I think both teams are pretty good. I mean, Ihsan was missing a bunch of their players. I know Rida Ajmal's still a bit hampered by injuries. It looked like Asaf Bikas seemed to be laboring a bit when he was winding up for a shot. Wahib seemed to be a bit. I'm not sure what his injury is, but he didn't seem to be 100% when I played him this summer. So I think some injuries are piling up for Rida, but it was another good. I mean, this is a night of fun games where everyone's pretty tight and everything's pretty close, which makes it more fun. No one wants to watch blowouts.
Yeah, this was a battle of goalies. That's all it came down to, and it defined the game. And just so that everyone's aware, like Rida tied the goal. Sorry, is it Abdullah Omar Abdullah?
Akbar Omar.
A lot of Omars in this year.
Yeah.
Muslim name.
Yeah. He scored with less than 30 seconds left at the end of it, and just being on the sidelines watching, because I was like, okay, this is a playoff battle for in terms of the standings. It really impacts us because depending on how they do, we move up or down in standings. And I was hoping that, of course, maybe they would come away with no points, but they were hammering Ihsan, and they got a very late goal, and that must have been a little bit demoralizing for Ihsan. So it'll be interesting to see how they come back with that. Although they do have a lot of veteran guys on the team, so it probably shouldn't impact them, but it probably feels like a loss for them.
Now, one thing that I will note, and I guess we can go into this in the previews of next week, is Rida has to come out fighting. I don't know about you guys, but at least in Rida's always been on the back foot starting a game. They're always passive when starting a game, and every goal that typically has been scored against them and getting them demoralized is a very early 1-2 goal or just a 1 goal, and that takes the wind out of your sails. So we'll have to see what the matchup is for tomorrow, for this week, and then we can analyze it further. But that being said, let's jump into yet another Malton Player of the Week. This time, well, Imad, do you want to go into the details?
Yeah, so it's brought to you by Hoopo.com, who's our sponsor. So go Hoopo.com, and you can learn a little bit more how they approach investing or charitable giving in a different way by enabling people to continue on with the donations that are made at the get-go. So Player of the Week, as you mentioned, Adil Panchvaya from Haya. He had a great game, goal and assist. Like I said, the young guys are really coming into their own in the league right now. They had a few games to kind of just settle around and get comfortable, but he had a great performance, mashallah. And I love seeing the videos that they're making, the creativity they have. So I'm just rooting for Malton kids to win the Player of the Week every week, because I can just picture some guys, and then they're gonna have this video where they're sitting in the car and being like, "Hey, thanks for making the video of the week or Player of the Week," and blah 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 blah, and poor lighting and all this stuff. And I just want to keep going with the creativity. That's all. So, but anyway, the rest picked the Player of the Week, so we have no say in that. But you can always hope for something.
No, I do agree. I appreciate the creativity from the kids. with their videos. So if people haven't watched it yet, check the social accounts for the league, and you'll get to appreciate some of the magic these guys are putting together. I do pity whoever wins Player of the Week. If it's not one of them, because the production value on those Player of the Week videos has been increased significantly.
I think we have to make creativity a criteria for you, because like to be Player of the Week, you need to be able to make the video, right? And to be able to get your prize. That's one of the requirements. So maybe we add creativity into that criteria as well. And if you don't make that criteria, then either you make another video or you don't get your award. But I don't know. That might be a little harsh, but we'll see.
I wonder if we're going to come out with a new award, TikTok, Iceland TikTok Player of the Year. Or my takeaway from Adam's video was get someone to toss you a marshmallow, eat it, and then just yell into the screen like Chuck Liddell. So, but anyways, congratulations, Adam. I've been actually a fan of yours because I've seen you play, and every time I see the gray jersey, I know number 2 to watch out for. And he just has a presence about him. He takes the ball behind the net. He'll set it up. And for a young kid to have that presence of mind to take it behind the net and just calm things down and then move it out. It's surprising to see. Heck, when I was his age, a few moons ago, I don't think I had that common sense. I was just like, hey, move it, just get it back up. But anyways.
All right. So
yeah, take it away.
The trade deadline was this past Tuesday. So there were a few transactions which took place. So maybe Maju, you can head us off into that.
Of course, yes. So we did have a trade. Now, well, actually, I'm going to let the OC talk about these. So because you guys are in the know about them. So Imad, Zoo, take it away.
I mean, I don't know what's there to know besides that the trade actually happened, but we don't typically know that much more. But what I'd say about this team and this trade, and it impacts our team, is we get Amr Hanif, who's a defenseman, and it really helps us because we did lose, or Luke hasn't been available for quite a while. So it's nice to get someone who can play D, or another person who can play D. And then at the same time, Amr is a center, and he's a fairly responsible center. So, gives us that a little bit of flexibility. Hamza has been great. Like he's actually had I would say maybe a relatively quiet season thus far in 6 games. He's missed a couple, but he's still, like, when he's there, he has that energy, right? He on the third line, he's just pushing through. He does what he needs to do, and he comes off, and that's really helpful because then it tires out the other team, and then creates opportunities for our top 2 lines. So we're gonna miss his speed and his energy there, but at the same time, welcome Amr. So, but it's interesting that Ikhlas traded away a defenseman. We've been talking about it this entire season. Is they don't have defensemen, and then they go ahead. What do? They trade a defenseman away. So I don't know what RC and Co were thinking about when they did this, but I guess we'll find out.
Hamza for defense. Let's go, Gaia. But like you said, he's had amazing speed, and he's shown it. He had 2 breakaways against us, like against Rida, and he's just a man that can't be stopped, right? So definitely, that's a huge change in dynamics for both teams. I think more for Ikhlas because now they don't have a certified D-man with the loss of Omar Dean and now Amr Hanif. So we'll see what they end up running, and their motto, I guess, has been D by committee. So we'll really just have to see. But Zoo, you've been around this league a long time. What are your thoughts on this move, even?
Yeah, I mean, I'll assume that RC has a strategy, or Arslanian for the GM for Ikhlas, because we've talked about how they're a bit short on the back. So to trade Amr Hanif seems strange. I mean, they picked up Daha on waivers when Omar Din had to drop out for an injury. So I don't know if they're thinking Fahad Panchbaya is back, and I think he played a bit on defense last week. Daha will play back. Dayab will play back. Bilal Ovi's been really good on defense, and then Saka has been playing on defense. So maybe that's the core they're going with, and they felt they could afford to lose Amr and get Hamza Gaia in, who will give them some energy as a forward and attack more. Because I think the criticism that's been made is that they're a lot of they know how to play, and they do make the long pass sometimes, but a lot of it is more individual, trying to get the zone one-on-one and deke. And maybe this is their strategy of like, we'll get more of a grinder player who'll be able to dig out the ball and play more physical, which he's willing to do.
Maybe they can move Sakib up too and pair him with Hamza and
Yeah.
two kind of small guys with some speed and a little bit of feistiness, and might help.
Yeah, I mean, having Sakib on defense while he's played well there with Bilal as a pair, they've lost the offense that
Yeah.
they need from him, right? So maybe finding some way to get him back on forward because he can play center, that helps it out, maybe spark their offense a bit because I think they're worst in goals scored this season. Yeah, they have the least number of goals scored with just 9. So
Yeah.
Well, I,
6 games.
I think they're trying to work on Sakib's glove, from softball, and maybe leverage that on him playing defense and maybe blocking some more shots. But I do apologize, Bilal Lv, that I missed you as the defense, but he's been rock solid as it is, and
yes,
but now we do have something else to announce, Imad.
This is spicy. So, we heard. So Junaid, it was a surprise to me when I heard this that Junaid is dropped out. Unfortunately, he had an injury. But then, maybe not so surprising is that Yusuf Ahmed came in to replace him, and he's the brother of Adam Ahmed, who's the other GM. So it's great to have Yusuf back. He hasn't been back in since fall of 21, I think.
maybe, yeah. Might
Yeah,
be.
fall of 21.
while.
It's been a while. I know he was battling through some injuries and needed some time to recover, but he in this summer he won a championship and at the national level and everything. So really, really happy. Now, the thing that comes to mind, and sorry, just to clarify also, this is a GM replacement. So it's straight 1-for-1. They don't have to go through waivers or anything like that. But how does this change the dynamic of Iman? We talked about how they've been kind of an up and down team. They still have good games, but still lose them. They're second last in the standings right now, although the standings are very, very close, both at the top segment and at the bottom. But how Zoo, what does this do to the team now?
I mean, I know there was some teasing before about how Iman may have been the weakest or one of the weaker GM trios. With Yusuf there, they probably are the strongest suddenly. So, I mean,
because they don't have Junaid dragging them down. Is that what you're saying?
I think it's not that he's dragging them down. It's that Yusuf, mashallah, is going to elevate because he is an elite player. I think it'll be interesting because Junaid has been one of their better forwards.
Yeah.
So that is a huge loss for them in that aspect. But Yusuf, you get a really strong defenseman. You can settle things down in the back because I know they've also been short on D sometimes. So Bilal Mohideen played back a game which he actually played well, but I don't think that's his natural position. So, now with the two brothers on defense, Adam more physical and using his speed. Yusuf has a great shot, great vision. I think those two can carry them in the back, but Iman needs something because they're seventh. So
7th,
if
yeah.
you look at the standings, they're outside of the playoffs looking in right now. This could be the change they need to help give them a bit of a jump.
But you brought up a good point. Is that Junaid was I would probably say their best forward, and
Yeah.
And it's not just that he has skill, but he has a physical presence there.
Yes.
And that really benefited them, I thought. And now they lose him, and they bring in another defenseman. I wonder if Adam might move up as a forward now as a winger to try and kind of replace Junaid, so they kind of do a little bit of a swap. But that might be something to experiment with.
They could, and you're right. Actually, Junaid was their leading scorer. 9 points in 6 games. He had a game with 5 points against Haya.
Don't remind me.
Yeah. They also, I mean, their game this week will be interesting because not only will Yusuf be making his debut, but AR Buttar, they also picked up on waivers. He didn't play last week, so he'll be joining them for this week. So they could be, it could be interesting to see how this plays out for them with the new bodies coming in.
Yeah.
And we have yet another transaction that occurred. And
Yeah.
this was another biggie.
So, Luke had planned to miss a few games because he went on Umrah and a trip in addition to that. But then at the same time, he's been battling some injuries. And, you might have noticed that earlier this season, he just didn't look like himself. Still very talented, mashallah, but he was just missing a little bit of, something was missing from him. And then we found out that he was injured, and Akib and Suf have been looking for a replacement ever since probably the last 2.5 weeks. And I tell you, it's been near impossible to find a GM caliber replacement, and the preference is to have a defenseman just because that's the role that Luke plays. And they probably went through, I kid you not, probably about 10 guys, GM caliber, asking them if they'd be available. But either they already committed on Fridays or injured or something or the other, and guys who played in this league. But finally, they were able to get Hafiz. And it's great that we have such a diverse group in our team, because literally when Akib went in the team chat, he's like, okay, we're looking for a defenseman GM. If anyone knows anyone, please let us know. And you have the Malton kids who are going through their contacts, and it was just all over the place. So it was a great team effort to recruit Hafiz. We're really happy to have him, and like, I don't know much about him, but from what I've heard, and these are quotes from other people, but he's the best defenseman that's ever come out of Markham, is from what I've heard. He's almost like a point per game player in YCBHL, and he's just going to be a force. So the expectations are like here right now before he even steps on, or before anyone's ever seen him in person. But we're very excited to have him out tomorrow night. But at the same time, it's tough losing Luke because the energy and the passion he brings. But inshallah, he'll be there to support us on the bench and coach us through the rest of the season.
Now we just had two teams that are still fighting for playoff contention or just at the edge of playoff contention make huge upgrades. We had Iman just pick up Yusuf Ahmed, and we had Haya, who is at number 5 right now, that just holding on to their playoff spot, just pick up a man who's supposed to be almost untouchable, point per game D-man who just destroys the YCBHL. That should really, I think, throw the standings for a little bit of a loop, right? Like, we still have 4 games to go. Haya can catch a lot of teams. Like, they can still get the 3rd spot so far, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. When
no one is clinched yet, okay? So if the wheels fall off for Suber, you never know.
Actually, I think Suber is clinched.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Suber is the only Suber. Yeah, they've been dominating the league this year. But yeah, they clinched. No one else
has 2 on tiebreakers.
Yes, no. Suber with 11 points. No, Iman and Ikhlas can't catch them, so they're in. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had the opportunity to see Hafiz play, other than hearing he's an East End legend and he's very talented. It'll be interesting to see how he comes in and changes the dynamics for Haya, because like Imad, like you said, they've been missing Luqman, a natural defenseman, a leader back there. So the pressure is on Hafiz to jump in and make an impact right away. So we'll see how that goes for him.
So RF just made an interesting comment that Zoo's butt will introduce him to Iceland. So
that's unnecessary.
I'm gonna stay out of that for a bit. But that being said, we'll get right into the game day previews. Iman, do you want to take us through the previews? Just
I'll probably skip the first game since I'm playing in it.
Well, just okay. So at least let's just go through the games. And I was actually hoping that you would go through the
okay. Okay, fine. So the schedule for this week is brought to you by Cottage on the Hill. So it's a great cottage down in the east, towards like far east, but it's totally worth it. Check out our Instagram. There's a link to there. It's a huge facility. It's winterized and everything. And you can contact Khalid Patel to book it. So check that out. Highly recommend it. Now, if we talk about the games, first game, I think this is going to be, we talk about it every week, right? Everything on Suber goes through Omar Hussein, or in net, it's Riaz. So between the two of them, you have to be able to contain Omar, which I think, was it Yakin who played him last week? Who played him last week? Yakin. They did it for Iman. I don't know. Whoever played him last week did a good job containing him. He did. I don't think he got on the score sheet. But then Riaz, he played like an amazing game. So it's going to be interesting to see how Haya approaches this game. At the same time, Suber then has to be able to create space for Omar and their speedy guys to get in. And it'll be interesting to see how they're able to then counteract Haya's kind of a little bit more of a stifling style to neutralize them. That's my take on the game.
Yeah, I think Haya, well, with the addition of Hafiz, it's going to be interesting to see what and how are they going to try to run the D through him? Are they still going to rely on Hakim as their leader and basically dish out the assignments or not? But I totally agree in terms of everything has to flow and does flow through Omar Hussein. So if you can stifle Omar Hussein, which I don't know how you're going to do, because again, like I've said, he's playing NHL 24, whereas everyone's still playing NHL 23. He's doing all these windmill dekes and stuff to jump around players. Haven't seen that so much last week, but he's a tough guy to contain, right? Now Zaid Claire is getting into a rhythm as well, so that's going to be interesting to see if he's going to be able to continue his goal scoring streak or just point streak. Whereas a couple of weeks ago he's like, "Oh man, I need breakaways. I need you to dump it high, dump it. Just give me a breakaway." Now he's able to score without having a breakaway, so it's better to see him being an all-round player. Haya, just if you the key to success for Haya would be to pepper as many shots as you can on Riaz. That being said, Riaz has been up to the task and doesn't show signs of stopping with a 9.950 or 950 save percentage. So I don't know how to find something against him. But if there's anyone, I think the speed, the lethality of the first line, Haya's first line, can definitely break down Riaz.
I mean, the thing with Suber is everyone's been saying all season, you got to focus on Omar Hussein and the rest of the team won't really produce as much. But that, as you guys have said, it's been hard to contain him. I mean, they do need more scoring. Like they need, I'll call out Isawi here because he has 2 assists all year. So I don't know if I know he went.
What happened on that breakaway this last week?
He did have a breakaway and did not finish. It was smart offensive awareness for him. Recognized the change, worked up that side, got a breakaway, and then I think he said he looked up and the ball rolled off his stick. So I guess as a defenseman, he's not used to getting breakaways, but come on, at least get a shot.
Something that I should say, not Isawi.
Yeah.
I guess as a defenseman, he's not used to ball control either, but
I don't know.
Maybe
He's
an excuse.
We all expect more of him, but I mean, they've been playing well. It will be interesting with the new additions into Haya. I mean, Haya is fighting for a playoff spot. Suber's already clinched, but they still want one of the top 2 seeds. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Now, second game, we have Ikhlas, who just kind of has a little bit of revamping after the trade, facing off versus Yakin. With Yakin, they've been on a roll. They are, I believe, unbeaten. Yeah, unbeaten in 6, 4-0-2. Have the most goals for at 18, and the third leads at 9. But that's still something. Just to say 9 goals against Fahad Mohamed is no easy feat either. Does Yakin's all their GMs, all their star players show up? We know that some of them are physicians and probably just also miss games otherwise. So are they gonna have a full squad? And what does Ikhlas need to do to compete? I'm not even going to pull punches here. What do they need to do to actually compete in this game? Because their playoff hopes are dwindling.
We talked about it before, right? I think they need to continue to put pressure like they have in past games, maybe not this past week, but get a ton of shots on Fahad and get him tired. The other thing is just use the rest of the team. They need to play as a team, not individually like they have been for long stretches of games, and sort of that defense, because they need a proper defensive core, and hopefully they can figure that out. But it's the obvious what we've been talking about all season. And Yakin, just continue doing what you're doing. Great offense, great defense, like you said.
Zoo, are you showing up? Are you gonna hang out? Are you playing?
They only rest star players, so I've been asked to show up and play. So
no load management for the
load management doesn't apply to the lesser players. But, we'll see who's available this week. But no, I mean the danger is that Ikhlas is desperate, right? Like they are in last based on tiebreakers. They need something to go their way. So I would expect them to come out hard, drive the net, try to create something. If they move Sakov up the forward, that could help their offense. But they need something, right? Like they're not out of the playoffs picture, but they gotta turn things around quickly, at least get a point or something. So,
Well, interesting fact is Eklas has 9 goals for, whereas Yakin has only allowed 9 against. So, yeah, it should be interesting. Now, the 10 o'clock game is another fight to try to get one of the top spots to get a bye, but also kind of situate yourself well for the playoff race. We have Takwa, aka Malton, aka will Huzi show up, but versus Isan, who's all on, as I've confirmed last week, and I think we've confirmed it earlier, everyone's on an 8-year contract. There is a no movement clause for many of those players. But and I know Sani for Isan was missing last week, so that threw them off a little bit. But I think the favorite from the get-go, at least in my eyes, is Takwa. I think they're actually no. Isan has 8 points. Takwa has 7 points. So I apologize, but just right away for me, I think Takwa is the favorite. But Isan is always that. I think I'm one of those people right now that I'm counting them out before it's even started. But we know that they always compete day in, day out. But what are your thoughts, Imad? Or
You were going to say something. Go ahead.
Sorry. I thought you were going to show me this time. It was supposed to be 1, 2, 3. You're going 1, 2, 1.
Oh, come on. I mix it up. It's my show.
So for this one, I think at the end of the draft, everyone sort of said Isan looked like they had the best defense core with Farouk, Coco, good grief, who I'm forgetting now. For us and Zaidi, like those are 3 strong players on the back. So they drafted well there. And Ishak Bayat's playing defense, and he's one game he had 2 goals. Like they have a really good defense core. It'll be interesting to see how they perform against Ducko, who's very talented on the forward end, fast forwards. They move a lot. It'll be a good challenge of a really good creative and offensive forwards on Ducko versus Isan's physical defensemen. Us and Farouk are not shy of playing the body, and it'll be interesting to see how those 2 match up here. I think, and to the point made, these are 2 teams fighting right now. Isan's 3rd, Duckwa's a point behind in 4th, but they're both really talented teams that are looking to stay on the top half of the standings.
Offense versus defense, and
pretty much, yeah.
Defense typically wins.
We'll see.
Quick and simple. Love it.
Last game.
So Rida, who's been struggling to even manage to get points and on the very cusp of losing their playoff spot, versus Iman, who is now, with their changes of getting Yusuf Ahmed, looking to now jump and I guess overtake Rida to get that last playoff spot. So what are we looking down? And again, I've said it, and I've said this. I just said this in our recap: is Rida is very slow out of the block, and they need to change that. They need to change it immediately. They can't be on the back foot, already a goal down right away. But what does Iman need to do? What do they need to find? Even with Yusuf Ahmed is not the savior.
They found it already.
I don't think one man can only do so much. But
I mean, arguably, the problem for Iman is their issue going into this at the end of the last game is that their offense was the 2nd worst in the league, and they've given up the 3rd most goals in the league. So Yusuf's going to help them defensively, and he will help create. But if their forwards are struggling to score before, that actually looking at now, that would be a worry, right? Because if they're struggling offensively, Sulman can only carry them so far. So,
and they've lost Junaid.
They lost Junaid, their leading scorer on forward, who's playing physical, playing well. Last week they had Itisham forced to play back. I'm not sure how much experience he has playing defense, but Yusuf will help them, hopefully organize them. But this is 6 versus 7 in the standings. So Rida wins, they're in a good position to can hold on to a playoff spot. They lose this game, it'll make the last few weeks interesting because Iman's got talent. They just got to put it together.
Now, Iman has also been missing their goalie, Bilal Sayed, regularly.
That's true.
So that also makes a huge difference. Now, you can't, as much as, Junaid did from forwards, we can't count out Mohamed Saleh, who did get a player of the week 1 week.
Yep.
And even Bilal Mohideen, who is pretty dang fast and hard to keep up with. and our ageless wonder, one of our ageless wonders in our league, Ahmed Ibrahim. So as much as we can say, oh, it just everything runs through Junaid Elvi, they do have other targets and other threats. But as much as Purple, what they need to do, trust the process. Of course, there is. Thanks, Ahmed. We need that every week, at least once. But what does Rida need to do, other than, again, like what I've already said? What do they need to do? They're supposed to be one of the best teams on paper. We said this, I think, right after the draft. Yet they can't seem to buy a goal, or even what do they have? 12 goals in 6 games, and one of their games was, I think, a four-goal game.
I think it's said in like professional leagues too, right? What's on paper doesn't always translate to reality, and we're kind of seeing that right now. And there's multiple reasons for that. People have off seasons, there are injuries, there's sometimes you just don't get the bounces and things like that. They still have the talent. They've been missing guys. Some key guys have been missing some games. I know Arif is not going to be here this week, so that's a hole for them to fill. But they just need to figure out how they can get the best chemistry out there with all their guys, because they have the talent. It's just kind of putting all the pieces together like a jigsaw puzzle, and then utilizing everyone how they should be utilized. Now, it's easy for me to say that, but it's obviously more complicated, and I'm sure Mohib and co have been trying to figure that all out. But Arif's on the team, and he says to split up Mohib and Asif, so maybe they try that. I don't know.
We'll be shadow captain right there.
Yeah. But yeah, they have the talent to switch it around. So they just have to continue trying new things and finish it up.
Well, I think that basically wraps up our podcast. But Zoo, being the guest here, I want to have you just have the last word and remind everyone, maybe don't beat you up for the stats if they're not updated properly. I don't know what else.
Hey, it's up to players to sign in and make sure their jersey number is correct. I can't control whatever happens after that.
Well, Jazakallah everyone for joining. Imad, again, always a pleasure to have you. Zoo, being the guest, I really appreciate it, man, because you, of course, have the memory of an elephant, but can't recall for the life of you. But inshallah, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Ahmed Ibrahim, of course, thanks for the kudos. But guys, inshallah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Inshallah, looking forward to seeing everyone tomorrow night.
Okay. Take care.